Yeah. And next we go to Coventry City for a 2-4 loss against Norwich. Not obviously, I've said before, I've been keeping an eye on Norwich this season because it's my second team. They've been on and off all season. I think they might get playoffs, but they just need a bit more consistency. But 4-2 loss for you in this game. What happened?
Very similar to the last 20-25 minutes of the Swansea game. We just didn't start. We give a stupid goal away off a set piece that Grant Hanley just walks in pretty much unchallenged. Arno Hernandez turns into Marcus Rashford style or Bakary Saka and has an absolute worldie and just rips us to shreds. And I think Josh Sargent scored the third, and we were 3-0 down, and we're like, we're in big trouble. And then for the rest of that half, we score 2 goals. Jamie Allen scores one, where he just slices the shot, and it goes in past the opposite way than it should have done, and goes in. And then Casey Palmer scores an absolute screamer where he just steers it in from the edge of the box on the half volley straight in top corner, and it's 3-2, and Norwich are rocking. And then half time came, and then we just kind of looked a bit leggy, and Robbins is going to make some changes. And as Robbins is about to make the changes, Norwich keep the ball for 4 or 5 minutes and doesn't go out of play. And then Kieran Dowell scores in that, and it's 4-2. And then it could have been 5 or 6 because Pookie runs our back three absolutely ragged. So yeah, it's one of those. We just don't start games well enough. We tend to be a second half team, and that's always dangerous if you go a goal down because you're chasing the game, and you don't want to be chasing the game against the likes of Norwich because they are that good.
Yeah,
I think
they're having a
sorry.
poor season, but they have still got a low end Premier League squad. There's players in that squad that would be playing Premier League games, so they're having a disappointed season. But yeah, I know, but you don't want to be struggling against them because if they're on their day, they will turn up.
Yeah,
But
I think they beat Preston, but scored 4 at Preston the week before. So, and then Wagner had just came in, so kind of had a new manager fill up on them. But yeah, they're kind of them. West Brom and Watford are the underachievers, if you want to say
yeah,
that. But I think with Norwich is just, I think they've got the firepower, but maybe they're not that good defensively. But yeah, it was just a frustration because we're just on a run of results where we were conceding goals for fun, and we just couldn't buy any luck, unfortunately.
yeah, definitely. Moving on, we go to Coventry City 2, Sunderland 1. Great result here. Do you want to get started on this one?
Yeah, but it was really a big game. I think it was around the time we had a chance of obviously pushing on for the playoffs. We had some winnable games coming up after Sunderland, but it's always a big game when Sunderland come to Cov. They obviously there's quite a lot of people from the northeast who live locally, and obviously a lot of people come down to work in the mining community. So obviously got families down here, so it is always a big game, and there's kind of no love lost between the two clubs. Obviously, they've had a few ex-Cov players from us. They tried to get our manager last year, and he said no thanks, but no thanks. Tony Mowbray being their manager, no love lost between Cov fans and him really with the way that he left us. So yeah, it was an interesting game. I think we probably got a bit of the luck. I think the first goal we score, a couple of old-fashioned tackles, shall I say, that in the modern VAR era may well have not been allowed. But yeah, Jamie Allen scores a real good goal, and then we're on top. Sunderland didn't really do that much, and then we catch them on the break, and Vic scores again. We're set up by Matty Godden, and then we're coasting. We think we get a clean sheet, and as I said earlier, Ahmed scores an absolute worldie, which is the only thing he did all game. Literally just clipped it
just
like he was on a training ground.
he just turns up the news all of a
Yeah,
sudden.
just turned up. But yeah, so that was really positive because I think Mark Robbins after the game was really positive that yeah, look, I think we've got a chance to play off because we. The only downside was that game we lost Casey Palmer, and
Yeah.
then with a hamstring problem, and we didn't realise how bad it was. And then
Mm.
we lost Jamie Allen, I think the game after, and that kind of just deflated us a bit because we were like,
Mm.
oh, we're just getting a run and we keep getting
Yeah.
injured, which is kind of the story of our season. But yeah, that was also like Luke Manali had just started to get into the team, and we started to see how good a defender he is. He's definitely someone who I would keep my eye on, because I think he'll either go somewhere else, a really good championship club. I mean, I'd love him back on loan next season, but I don't know whether Burnley will let him go. But he looks really, really good, and companies obviously fancies him, and because
Mm.
he keeps monitoring him. So yeah, he'll be one that a name I'd say to look out for because he's a proper old-fashioned centre half. He wins it, but he's good on the ball as well.
Yeah. I'll keep an eye on him. Looks like this interesting talent. Next, we have a smashing game for you. 4-0 win against Huddersfield Town. Obviously, Huddersfield Town fighting near the bottom of the table at the moment. What was your thoughts on this game?
Great result. They're kind of a bogey side for us, Huddersfield. We struggled to beat them. We went up there last season and arguably had more chances than we did in the 4-0 win and only drew 1-1, and that was a 90th minute equaliser. So yeah, they're kind of a bit of a bogey team. We had beaten them a couple of weeks before in one of the games that was postponed due to our pitch crisis. We beat them 2-0, but obviously they just got Warnock back, and it was kind of like, yeah. And I never like playing Neil Warnock sides because they're always up for it. But yeah, they kind of gifted us one for Vic. Vic scored a real good finish. Hamer scored. Vic scored again, and then Vic set Tyler Walker up, which was really good to see Tyler Walker on the score sheet. I'm always liked him. He was a striker who his underlying data. He was doing better than Ivan Toney was in League One and that season Ivan Toney went to at the end of the season he went to Brentford, I think, but he got recalled by Forest and he kind of come off, and he's never had a run Wickov. It's good to see him
Mm.
back on the score sheet. So it's a massive win. I think we all then started kind of believing again that we'd found a way. He put a young lad in, Ryan Howley, he plays for the Welsh youth setup. He started, played really well. He's another one that we think we've got big things expected. We've got about a group of about 4 or 5 youngsters that are coming through. So we've got Jack Burrows, who's a Scottish youth international, Josh Eccles, who's English. He's just started to play regularly for us. He's pretty much a standout in our midfield. And then we've got Fabio Tavares, who's a young striker, Portuguese. Unfortunately, he tore his Achilles tendon, but he'd been quite playing well. And then the other one that's a kind of Howley as well, coming through. And then there is another lad in our academy called Isaac Moore, who is really highly rated. That pretty much everyone in the Premier League and higher has been scouting him. So, but he's not got through to the first team yet. But he's someone else who I think he won't be at Cov long term. But yeah, Ryan Howley's definitely someone we hope will develop for us. Ideally, we would have loaned him out, but we just had so many injuries that we can't do that. But yeah,
Yeah.
he's someone I think would definitely one to watch, and I think we've got to start bringing through our own talent to progress. So yeah, 4-0's great win, and I think we're all partying, thinking, yeah, we're on a good thing now.
Yeah. And the last game we're going to talk about before we move on to some questions to end is Blackburn 1, Coventry City 4.
Blackpool.
Blackpool, sorry.
I take Blackburn 1, Coventry City 4 because we're 5 in a few weeks, and if we do that, then I'll definitely think we'll be partying and got the playoffs. But yeah, that we always Cov fans love Blackpool away. We kind of hope Blackpool stay up. That's the thing because it's the best away day. And I think last season it was midweek in August. It was like March. So we were really happy it's a Saturday. So Cov fans make a weekend of it. I went up. It was actually quite nice weather for March. Actually, the sun came out. So it's really nice. They give us literally the whole of the away stand, and it's really funny there because their media is literally in the middle of the away stand, and there's no
Yeah.
segregation. So the Blackpool commentators are commentating, and the Cov fan who I think his name's Lyndon, he has a drum, and he was situated right behind the Blackpool commentator with a drum going bang, 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 bang. And then we have the Cov media reporter. He was there, so he writes for our local paper, the Cov Telegraph, Andy Turner. And we have our two commentators. So we have Clive Eakin and Steve Grizovich, who's like Coventry City legend. They do the commentary. And literally every time Cov scored, which we scored 4 times, they got mobbed because there was literally no way of stopping the fans running in there. But it's a great away day. I mean, 4-1, you'd argue flattered us because I think Blackpool played all right. Blackpool had a couple of good chances, and then we got a bit lucky. Victor Gyökeres got involved in a scuffle, and he could have gone for it. And he's kind of just got this, not frustration, this little, like Zlatan does. He's kind of got that in him, and I don't like that. And you got to be careful doing that. And he kind of threw his arm out, and because he was being tugged. But then he sets up the goal for us, which is an absolute screamer by Ben Sheaf. He's another one we've just signed on a new long-term deal. I think he'll go and play in the Premier League. He is that good. If he adds goals to his game, which he's just started doing, he will go on. I mean, Flynn Downs went to West Ham from Swansea. I'd argue he's better than Flynn Downs is, and I think he'll go for a good amount of money for us. Hamer was absolutely brilliant. Hamer had a hand in all 4 goals. We give a penalty away to make it 1-1 that Jerry Yates scores, who loves scoring against us because that was his third, I think it might have been his 2nd or 3rd goal in 2 games against us. We could have given another penalty away that for some reason the ref doesn't give, and it would have meant Hamer got sent off because he trapped back and kind of Yates kind of just got in front of the ball and he didn't give it. And then we have a corner, and they've got Chris Maxwell in goal, and he's played the last 3 games against us. And Hamer's tried the same corner every time where he's tried to, curl it straight in, and he did it. He didn't curl it straight in, but he flapped the keeper. Did he's that worried about where the ball's going? Flapped it in, and went in off their defender. So it's 2-1 at half time, and it kind of knocked the wind out of them. And then McFadden scored an absolute screamer on the volley to make it 3-1, and the fans have just gone nuts. And then it was 4-1 through Matty Godden, which is great because Hamer's chased after the ball. He's got forearm smashed in the head because the Blackpool fans raised his arm up. Hamer's just not interested. Got the ball, ran it, played it. Godden scored, and it's 4-1, and we've all just literally gone mad. And at the end of the game, the players come over and we're singing the Cov songs. We've literally got a song for every player now. And then there's some people there who've got cowboy hats, so we're throwing the cowboy hats on the pitch, and the Cov fans were getting. But yeah, it was when we played that good. You think, why aren't we above Millwall or Luton? Because when we're on it, we got and that's kind of been our Achilles heel. We've not been great away from home, and it's kind of our away form's improved, but home form's kind of tailed off, and that's the frustration. But yeah, we were flying, and then I said, unfortunately, we got reality check after the international break where we got smashed by Stoke and drew at Swansea. So yeah, it's the joys of being a Cov fan. Great 1 week and pony the next.
Yeah. Anyway, I've got some questions for you now. Do you think you can get playoffs, and what would it mean if you can go up into the Premier League?
I'll answer it twofold. I'll answer it sensible, Glenn. Realistically, we shouldn't get in the playoffs because we've got far too many injuries. We haven't got a recognised playmaker in a number 10 now because we've lost literally everyone who would play 10 for us. We're going to have to kind of change the way we play. But we play Watford next, who are a car crash, and they don't win that often against us. I think we've got a real good record against them. Then we go to QPR, who are another basket case of a club at the moment, but we have a horrible record against QPR. If we could win them, then we go to Blackburn. And I think Blackburn's next 2, they go to Huddersfield, who are flying, and then they've got Hull at home. And Hull are that awkward little side because they played us. I mean, we had 25 chances against them, but they got a 1-1 draw, and they handled Gyökeres as well as any team I've seen with the exception of Stoke, and they did really, really a good number on him. So I think if we could somehow get 9 points from those 3 games, we'd have a chance. But the realist in me thinks Norwich have an easier run in, and they have a better squad. But Norwich have lost 3 key players, I think. So
Yeah.
I would
They've
say
they've only got
logically,
one fit centre back
centre half,
in
yeah,
Oppa the Hanley and the other guy. I can't remember his name.
Gibson.
Yeah,
I think, yeah, they've
Gibson.
lost
They're both
Gibson,
out.
McLean, and Hanley, haven't they? They've lost those 3,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
So yeah. And then you got West Brom because they've got 7 games left. You'd say you'd fancy them, but they're another team. We've played them twice, and I've not been impressed with them. And they should be doing better with, but they're not. They're not great away from home. I'm not convinced Millwall or Blackburn will make the playoffs. I think they'll both might miss out. So there is an opportunity on it. And I've always said, and I've said it loads because obviously I do a podcast. I go on one called Sky Blue's Fans TV, and we also do like a Twitter space called All Things Sky Blue. They do it every Sunday night, so we go on that usually. And I've always said, take it to the last day. We go to Middlesbrough, and we need a result to get in the playoffs. Strange things happen, and I'll take that. I don't want to be 6
Yeah.
going into the last game because I think almost then the
Middlesbrough will be
pressure.
Middlesbrough will be a hard game. They're flying under Michael Carrick.
Yeah.
To think they were in the relegation zone when he took them over, and they're now like 3rd is mental.
Yeah, he's done a great job. I think the only plus point I'd say is we've played Middlesbrough 3 times, and we've caused them no end of problems. And Gyökeres has really caused them a lot of trouble. And it's kind of the same defence they've got. And I don't think it's Middlesbrough. I think if they need a result, attacking us will give us a chance to hit them on the break. But you don't know. They might be home and hosed in 3rd. I don't know, but I think that's the thing. You've got to kind of take it deep because I think we've got 4 games you'd expect us to win, and then there's 2 games you go question mark.
Yeah.
And I think we probably need 13, 14 points, and you need Millwall to kind of come and stuck. I think the easier team to come and stuck's Blackburn because Blackburn have the harder games. But it could end up with like someone like a Preston get in, which would be absolutely ridiculous. Because I remember we went there and drew 0-0, and they wanted Ryan Lowe sacked. They hated him, and then they've just gone on this unbelievable run. So in terms of the second part, what it would mean, I've always said I'd love a season back in the Premier League. Even if we went up and went back down, we had the worst season. Derby had that season. I think they got 12 points. I wouldn't care. I'd just love to go with my dad and my eldest son just to watch him in the Premier League because he's never seen us play in the Premier League. He's been to Premier League games with me, but he's never seen Cov in the Premier League. And I remember the fun that we had going and playing. Like we beat the likes of Liverpool. I think my second Cov game we beat Liverpool 5-1. I was
wow.
And
Nice.
then I never saw us beat Man United, but I've seen us beat Arsenal. Funny enough, recently, I think it was this day, about 20 years ago, we played Chelsea, and Chelsea had to borrow our 3rd kit, so they played in like a blue and red Chelsea kit, and we beat them 3-1. And I always remember it because it's like the running joke was they were the best players to play in the Cov kit because they had Zola, LeBoeuf, I think Desai was there. And yeah, LeBoeuf was really fuming at the end of the game because he threw the shirt off and apparently stomped on it. But yeah, we beat him 3-1. And Gordon Strachan played. It was man of the match. He was like 40 odd. It was brilliant. But yeah, so just stuff like that, and it's fun. But the problem is, a lot of COD fans say we're not ready. But I think you can't pick and choose when you go up. Like Leicester had the chance to win the league. You can't pick and choose that. Teams like Aston Villa have a chance of getting into Europe. They have even a slim chance, maybe the top 4 if they go on a stupid one. You can't pick and choose your games on it, so you've kind of just got to give it everything. And I think it would be nice because there's a lot of younger COF fans who've put in the hard yards and gone and seen us play at Forest Green where we've got beat, gone to Morecambe and seen us get beat, gone to Newport in the rain and Barnet and teams like that not seen as win. It would be nice for them to go and see us playing the Premier League. And we've got a new owner. This season we've got rid of a lot of our problems. We got rid of Sisu, who were a major problem for us. We've got rid of Wasps, who were a major problem and got even worse of a problem when they basically forced us to sell one of our best defenders to fund the pitch because they were skint and basically meant we couldn't play any football at the ground because the pitch wasn't suited. And we've got a new owner who is very proactive. He engages the fan base. He says what he means and does what he says. He's quite open and honest, and he's approachable. And he said, "I'll fix things." He said, "I'm not going to sell Gyökeres in January." He didn't. He said, "I'm going to get key players under contract." He's done it. "I'm going to back Mark Robbins in January." He did it to a degree without going stupid, and he's going to get the training ground up to speed, which is a good thing because we have that many injuries. You do wonder, is the training ground part of that problem?
Kind of goes into my next question. So my next question was, do you think Coventry have the facilities, and if you go up to the Premier League in the next few years?
I think the stadium's good. It hasn't been kept up to a standard that I would have expected at one of the better stadiums in the country. I mean, it was billed as one of a potential place that England internationals and stuff like that would play at it, and I think Wasp kind of let it get into a bit of a state of disrepair. But it's a great stadium.
I know that feeling. I'm a United fan, so I know that feeling of the owners getting in the stadium rot.
Yeah, I think like Old Trafford. Like I think there was that video of Old Trafford where the toilets were flooded. I mean, I've been to St Andrews a few times when we were there, and we got moved over to there, and that's proper like an old-fashioned throwback to like the Highfield Road days. I mean, it's a good ground. We've got hopefully Mark Ashley will get a deal with him, a long-term deal. I think Mark Ashley's quite sensible. He's not going to go and spend millions and get it all in one go, but I think he'll win it a lot better than Wasp did. And it is a good ground. 32,000 odd. If we got up into Premier League, we would get good crowds because there will be the fickle fans who'll kind of buy in the Cov because they want to go and see Harry Kane, Mo Salah, blah 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 blah. Man United, you know what I mean? They're going to do that. So it would work in our favour, but I don't think maybe the academy's good enough, and probably the training grounds need work on it. Obviously, our chief scout left us to go to Blackpool, so that kind of left us a bit in the lurch, and then he's left Blackpool, so that was good. He lasted 6 months there, which was brilliant. So yeah, that was kind of our season. It's just been. I wish it had been documented by Amazon or Netflix because they would have just had a field day because the stuff we've gone. I mean, I'm a Cov fan. It's just I just laugh my head off what we've gone through. It would be really good after the season we've had to go and make in the Premier League, and I wouldn't put it past us because we do things that by no rhyme or reason should. We won the league playing out of Coventry. Name me another team that's done that, and we won it in a pandemic. We managed to stay up in a pandemic where we had no right and we were pretty much dead and buried. And then we went on a ridiculous run in the last few games to stay up. So yeah, it's a roller coaster ride, and we'll see what happens. But I think we're most looking forward to the prospect of maybe playing Leicester City next season because that'll be them 69 derby will be back. So that'll be good to see that.
Yep. Anyway, thanks for coming on. Good luck for the rest of the season, mate. And where can we find you?
You can find me on my Twitter page, which is at TheSkyBluehub. So yeah, I generally just cover anything that's Cov City related. So we obviously have loads of people who do YouTube and stuff. I also help out with the at Skyblues Fans TV. So they do like a twice weekly live stream where they just talk to Cov fans about football, etc. They also speak to they have like an away fan on doing the piece on it. So yeah, it's a good to check that out. And yeah, I tend to pop up on various YouTube people who ask me to come and join it. So yeah, it's it's fun. I enjoy it. I enjoy talking football, so it's good, and it's nice to meet some new people. And it kind of started in the pandemic, really. I had a bit of free time and thought, well, there's a lot of COV stuff. Let's get it sharing. So I did that, and then got into podcasting. So yeah, I enjoy it. So it's good to chat football and see about COV. So yeah, it's good.
Yep. Thanks for coming on, mate, and thanks for watching today. Smash that like button, smash that subscribe button, turn that bell so you never miss an upload. We'll be back with another episode of the halftime analysis next week, and the podcast and many more content. So this has been the Football Nation, your home of all things football. Good night.